When I was starting a family and a career, a friend of mine approached me, and he asked if I had ever thought about working for an automotive manufacturer. He assured me that I possessed the qualifications and they could teach me what I needed to know. Then he offered the incentive that sealed my decision. They would give me a brand new car to drive for free. I received a week of training at American Motors and Jeep Corporation, a map of my territory, a list of my dealers, and a field kit. And they were all placed in the trunk of my brand new field car. And I was sent out into my new adventure. That first field car was a Matador coupe. It was huge. It took up 2 of today's parking spaces. It was overpowered, and it got 11 miles to the gallon. And it was brown. It was the ugliest field car I ever drove. And it broke down before I got home. It would be useful to know that American Motors used old technology to power its business, and it became obsolete, and the company began to fail. I moved to a newcomer, American Isuzu, and they introduced a sport utility vehicle to the U.S. market. But they didn't have the resources to compete in a fast-growing, competitive industry. So finally, I chose to join American Honda. They were a company with vision and ideas. They developed vehicles that were dependable, affordable, and fun to drive. This is the 3rd Sunday of Lent. And what does the automobile industry have to do with Jesus and the woman at the well? Well, I'll get to that. But before that, today I wish to speak to you about this church. And it does have something to do with the gospel that we heard today. When this parish was formed, the people put their resources together to design and build this wonderful structure that we worship in each week. The community sought to put in place a space that served Jesus and the parish. At the time, it was all state-of-the-art. Yet, buildings are subject to wear and tear. Each week, over 2,000 people pass through this building. Outside of the weekend masses, this is the home to daily worship, daily fellowship, learning, prayer, and adoration. The staff, the parish council, the finance council, the building committee, all the ministries meet and work here. This building is always inviting, refreshing, and a place for community and connection. Over 30 years ago, new boilers started their life in this community, heating and cooling the church, doing their work for us. Now, they have served their purpose. They've outlived their useful life expectancy. They require more and more maintenance from fewer and fewer qualified technicians. The building committee has studied and prepared for the necessary replacement of these boilers for at least the last 5 years. And all of us who have been evacuated for gas leaks, or attended Mass here in the cold, or had our ministry meetings canceled, all of us can understand that it's time to replace the heating and the cooling system here at Holy Cross. It's a large but very achievable undertaking, and it will ask for the participation and the support of each of us. Now, we are blessed in this parish to have a pastor and a finance council who have watched over the finances of this church carefully. We have no debt in this parish. Our pastor and the staff have cared for our resources, allowing the parish to conduct most activities without any charge to the community. It is our intention to accomplish this necessary maintenance without incurring any debt. And it's important to understand that this is not a contingency project. Contingency funds are for emergencies. This is a matter of maintenance. The project will cost the parish $700,000. Everybody take a breath. It seems daunting, but it is achievable. Over the next weeks, each parishioner is asked to consider what they can offer toward the cost of this project. It will not, and I repeat, not be a campaign. In the coming weeks, starting today, envelopes will be available in the Commons each week for parishioners to use for this specific donation. There will be online availability also, and we will provide weekly information on our progress towards the goal of raising $700,000. Now, we have prayed over this, we've considered the options, and we've come to the conclusion that this parish is quite capable of meeting this need. We'll rely on individual donations, gifts, bequests to reach the target. American Motors used old technology as long as it could. Eventually, that technology no longer served them. We have old boilers that can no longer serve our need, or be dependable, or be serviced economically. Isuzu tried to do something unique. It flashed in the market, but was unable to sustain itself. Like Isuzu, we have been in a period when we have put Band-Aids on problems, done workarounds to keep the system working, and hoped for the best. That course is no longer practical. Honda used the state-of-the-art technology to create something that was efficient, accomplish the task that it was called to do, and was something that could be repaired easily. Using that approach is the choice that we are making as a parish. We will have efficient systems that are easily maintained with abundant technical support. Tony Alexa told you a bit about the project just before Mass. We encourage you to stop in the Commons after Mass to hear him further and to ask questions. Now, what I have just shared with you can be a bit much to absorb in one sitting, and that brings us back to the woman at the well. Today we hear Jesus speaking to a Samaritan woman at Jacob's well, and at first the woman fails to understand Jesus' offer of eternal life through the gift of his water. She has many questions, and right now we too can have many questions. Then Jesus shocks her with his understanding of her life. And now she becomes curious and wants to know the connection. Every week, we gather here to thank Jesus for the gifts that he showers on us. If we reflect on what this parish contributes to our spiritual well-being and our growing love of Jesus and the community, we can begin to see the connection to the day-to-day requirements of maintaining a place of worship and community. And finally, Jesus reveals himself to the woman as the Messiah. The woman believes and begins to draw the townspeople to Jesus in order to hear the good news. We received the living water from Jesus in our baptism. And we who possess this gift are now called to act in this world, assuring that those who join us here each week, those who will come in the future, receive that same blessing and message in this life, in this building, and in this place, as well as in our spiritual lives. And sometimes it just comes down to replacing the boilers. In all of this, we honor and serve the command of Jesus as we spread his good news to the world.